Salute. Salute, Jay. Kuwait, Gabe, I see you. Salute. Look, Chris Girl, I see you. Salute. Hussein, salute. Monster, salute. Saul Gutierrez, salute. My brother, Brown Gone One, salute. Salute. We just got to air out some real stuff, man. Because, I'm seeing a lot going on. Everybody hit that thumbs up button when you come in the building. Fernie, I see you. I see you. Martin, Delia, I see you. Audacity. Now, Fred. Let's first thing we're gonna do is get into Paul Bradford. Let's get it. Will, what's up, my G? Nelson P. Salute, my brother. Everybody, hit that thumbs up. We only got 9 likes. Let's hit that thumbs up so we can go ahead and get this show on the road so we can show everybody we for real. If you support the IBFP, Detroit in the house, salute to D. Now, come on now. Let's just go ahead and get it because these fanboys don't want to smoke. We're going to end all this biased narrative and we're going to tell the truth. And the first way we're going to tell the truth is, the first thing we got to really get into to tell the truth is we got to tell the truth on the LDBC trash and garbage. These guys exposed themselves, Fred from Trash Barbershop Conversation, they basically came out and stated, he's mad at his daddy, Al Heyman, for not issuing him a credential. At the end of the day, he basically stated he feels like he needs a credential to pump up them just because on a racial narrative. This just proved the LDBC is trash. These guys are garbage. And the only reason he's supporting anything is because of a racial agenda. These guys are not real boxing talk. These guys are garbage. These guys aren't being real. These guys don't want to talk boxing. They want to talk race. These guys are only about race and agendas. That's all they're pushing is narratives. So these guys aren't talking any facts, because if we want to talk facts, we talk about, you're saying Gervonta Tank Davis is a star and the guy is barely hitting 400,000 and 500,000 views on Showtime. Talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about why you're saying that Deontay Wilder's the face of boxing, but Canelo's pulling in $35 million a fight while Wilder can't sell out a chicken dinner. Talk about that. And then all of these LDBC channels are starting to congregate and support the PBC fake belt. Now, if you haven't heard about it, let me explain to you. A Fox executive for PBC on Fox went on to Chris Mannix's podcast and went on there and basically told everybody that they're going to make a fake PBC belt. A fake PBC belt. So you're going to make a fake PBC belt, but these are all the fanboys crying and complaining about a franchise title. Now, we all know the franchise titles are trash. We all know that the franchise title shouldn't exist, but at least it came from a sanctioning body. At least it came from an actual belt. These guys are making up a WWE fake belt in-house so they can fight Wilder and Ruiz for a fake belt, so they can fight Spence and Porter for a fake belt. These guys are trash. No one wants that garbage. When you're making a fake belt, they need to step out of the sport of boxing because they're no longer credible. They've lost all credibility in the sport of boxing. The PBC are worse than the WBC because they're making a fake belt. These guys are making, they don't want to recognize Terrence Crawford because they know he would destroy Errol Spence. They know it. They know it. They know it. These guys are making a chicken dinner belt. Come on now. Come on, now you want Spence and Pacquiao to fight for a fake belt, but you don't want to recognize the WBO and Terrence Crawford? Are you serious? If Andy Ruiz Jr., is a WBO champion and you don't recognize that belt, then why didn't you tell Andy Ruiz Jr. to drop that belt? Because it means something. It is a belt. These guys are not looking at true facts. And this guy said, 99% the PBC is self-sustainable. They're self-sustainable. They're self-sustainable. They have no top dogs at 160 pounds. You have Jamal Charlo, who was handed a belt, and who, if he ever fights any good competition, he will lose the belt, who's openly ducking Demetrius Andre. All the fights that we want to see Jamal Charlo in are on the zone. Period. The PBC is making a fake belt so they can build up their own fake roster, and these guys will be exposed and exploited. You can't go on forever thinking that, you're going to control the welterweight division. Look at Sean Porter in his age. Look at Errol Spence in his age. All these guys are at that 30-plus mark. Danny Garcia. Look at these guys. They're already there. But the future of the welterweight division, you have Virgil Ortiz. You have Jose Ramirez. You have Regis Prograis. You have Teofimo Lopez. All of these guys, Devin Haney, all these guys are the future of the welterweight division, and none of these guys are with the PBC. PBC. They won't last long. These guys are going to eventually implode on themselves because they don't have credibility. You're making up fake belts and you're trying to only make in-house fights. They don't want the best fighting the best. They're basically ducking all the real smoke from all the good people. Come on now. Come on now. These dudes don't want it. Ray Hernandez says, is Dana White behind it? No, he's not. Because at the end of the day, the PBC is making up a fake belt going against boxing. Come on now. Canelo Alvarez, just like Mando Solo said, Canelo Alvarez is younger than Errol Spence Jr. and has already accomplished way more. I have people saying, why is, Deontay Wilder not on a pound for pound list for me? First of all, on my pound for pound list, I include heavyweights, but Deontay Wilder will never be included at this point until he fights an elite level competition. This guy's not, you're fighting a 1,000-year-old mummy and Luis Ortiz 2 fights in a row. That doesn't mean anything to me. Dominic Breazeale, that doesn't mean anything to me. You should have ended up fighting Anthony Joshua when you had the chance, but you gave $120 million up to make nothing. So you can make $10 million a fight? And that's what you gave it up to be on a pay-per-view that won't even sell? Because these guys want to have in-house fights. Because these guys want to do, what cowards. These guys are a bunch of cowards. And watch. And this is the warning. This is the warning. Now, William Davis 503 said, Ortiz is legit. Look, I'm going to put it like this. Luis Ortiz is a good quality fighter, but he's not an elite fighter. Luis Ortiz has never been a world champion, and he's never beaten an elite opponent. So, yes, I respect Luis Ortiz, but at this point, you don't pass up Anthony Joshua for Luis Ortiz. And Luis Ortiz should have never passed up Anthony Joshua for Deontay Wilder. None of those make sense. Those are stupid, idiot decisions to make, and only PBC fighters make them. You have to understand, Top Rank and the Zone and Matchroom, Golden Boy, all these guys work together. How is Canelo younger than all of these dudes and nobody else is fighting the best but him? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. These dudes are garbage. Just like he's saying, Wilder is still ducking to this day. To this day, he's still ducking. This dude don't want the true smoke. Look, at the end of the day, you see Gervonta Tank Davis pass up a $5 million offer to backdoor Tevin Farmer with the $2 million offer because they knew he would reject it. They knew he would reject it. At the end of the day, they know he would reject it because the offer makes no sense. They knew he would reject it because, who's gonna offer $5 million but then take $2 million in return? That makes no sense. They really didn't want the fight and they needed a way to duck out of it. This was a unification match with a world champion and they didn't want to take the fight. That's really it. They didn't want a unification fight. They don't want the best fighting the best. They want, Gervonta Tank Davis to fight old, washed up fighters. They want him to fight broken fighters. They want him to fight fighters that don't do anything in the sport. Let's stop playing. Come on now. Let's stop playing. The PBC is extra garbage. Extra garbage. Extra garbage. Nobody's asking for a Wilder Ortiz fight. Everybody was asking for, Anthony Joshua versus Ortiz. Anthony Joshua for Wilder. And Anthony Joshua made 2 record payday offers to both of those guys, and they got turned down twice. Twice they got turned down. You don't have to like Anthony Joshua. Then you look at Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo, and, that's a good fight. But that's not the best fighting the best. What happened to Jarrett Hurd fighting Charlo? These guys tried to protect and marinate that fight for so long that they blew it. Come on now. Come on now. These dudes is trash. These dudes is trash. So look, PBC at Popeyes looking for opponents. That's right, because that's the only people that truly want to smoke. Popeyes employees. These guys don't really want to smoke. These guys don't want to smoke. The Charlo brothers don't really want to smoke. Deontay Wilder, if he doesn't make at least $40+ million for this fight with Luis Ortiz, he blew it. He absolutely blew it. If you don't make that, Leo Santa Cruz refuses to fight Gary Russell Jr. And both of these guys are PBC fighters. That's what I don't understand. People say, well, Terrence Crawford needs to join the PBC to get the fights. So if that's the case, then why is Leo Santa Cruz and Gary Russell Jr. both with the PBC, but neither one of these guys are fighting each other? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. You can't, because the PBC is full of duckers and cowards. They're being run by, Eddie Hearn. You see, Mikey Garcia was a respectable fighter. Now he ducks all the top smoke. He's only a clout chaser, willing to sell his old, well, he's already sold it, but he's willing to take another L, this time for Manny Pacquiao, for a big payday, because he's not beating Manny. Let's be real. We know this. We know this. We know we're not going to play. The PBC is trash. And watch their fighters start to jump ship. Look at Jamal Charlo. Eddie Hearn offered him the big fights. Eddie Hearn offered him the best fights and he was offering him 3 times what he gets paid. For Jamal Charlo to turn it down. Eventually, these idiots have to start, switching ship to the zone, or they're going to become irrelevant, because Jamal Charlo is fighting guys from 154. Tank Davis is fighting guys from 126 and 130, and he's at 135. These guys are running out of credible opponents. Period. These guys are fighting nothing but trash. Mikey Garcia is being designated to the trash pile until he steps up and fights a legitimate opponent that he can actually win a match at 140. Mikey Garcia needs to go down at 140, and he needs to compete for all those belts. Period. Get out of 147. You already got schooled. Let it go. If Mikey Garcia won a big fight at 147, then fight Terrence Crawford, and I bet you get stopped. He's not going to be like Pillow Fist Errol Spence, who's going to take you the distance. Terrence Crawford is breaking Mikey down and stopping him. That's why Mikey Garcia doesn't want that smoke. Mikey Garcia gets no respect until he drops down to 140 and takes a real fight. Be real. Be real. I can't support this guy staying at 147 and you can't win a round. The zone is putting on the best fights, the biggest fights. Manny Pacquiao still has big fights left in him. People still care about Manny. So at the end of the day, Mikey needs to be trying to fight Loma. Mikey needs to be fighting Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor. He needs to be at 140 fighting the best, taking on the best smoke. Mikey Garcia is a joke at this point. Bud Crawford is the real boogeyman. You see everybody saying, oh, him and Porter need to fight Sean Porter, and has already moved on, getting ready to take a tune-up, hoping for an Errol Spence rematch or hoping for a Manny Pacquiao fight. These guys don't want the boogeyman Bud. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Come on now. Come on, these are not the best fights. Look at the zone coming up with the best fights. They've already given you Ruiz Joshua 1, now Ruiz Joshua 2. Then they give you, Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs was a title unification, elite level fight. Then they gave you Canelo Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev, which ended in a great knockout. They're giving you the best fights for a cheaper price, and the PBC is offering you garbage. Pay-per-view after pay-per-view. I like Manny Pacquiao, respect Manny, but Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao is not a pay-per-view fight, because you know that Adrian Broner is going to do nothing but put on his track shoes and run from Manny Pacquiao. And this just shows you that this guy has no sense left because he thought he won the fight. Only an idiot would say that. That's not a pay-per-view fight. That's not a pay-per-view fight. I'm sorry. Nobody asked for that fight. Nobody wants to see this trash. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, that's not a pay-per-view fight. Even Showtime, who is one of the dumbest, entities in boxing, didn't even pick up Ortiz versus Wilder because they know it'll do 18 buys in a chicken dinner. They know that it's nothing legitimate. You don't take that and keep going. That's right, Mafia. Salute to Mafia. He says, the barbershop conversation switched up like Prime from Transformers. Look, the barbershop conversations is trash anyway. If Fred want to get on here and debate, we can debate, because he's absolutely garbage. The dude is trash. And at the end of the day, all of these dudes is coming up with the fake stuff. They're not coming up with what's real. They're not coming up with the truth. And they're not coming up with what's going to work. They're coming up with absolute garbage. These dudes don't want to fight the best. Barbershop conversations can come get all the smoke. These guys are promoting a race-based narrative based on how you look, not based on what they see in the ring, not based on who deserve it. These are the same idiots that had Deontay Wilder #1 pound for pound. When Deontay Wilder has nothing but tomato cans on his resume, he didn't beat Tyson Fury. He didn't knock Tyson Fury out. Tyson Fury went in there and schooled him with the jab and got robbed of a decision. Let's be honest and unbiased. Tyson Fury destroyed Deontay Wilder, outclassed him, outboxed him literally for 10 rounds. The 2 rounds he lost were the ones he got dropped, period. They had to rob that man to get the victory. Let's not even play. And that's till this day. Fred from Barbershop Conversations is an absolute fraud. He's a fraud. Tell me why this dude looking like a giant milk dud. Come on here, man. Eddie Hearn didn't already expose Barbershop. He didn't already expose the dude. The dude is absolute trash. He's never put together a coherent video. And come on now, let's be honest. These dudes are no longer credible. Come on now. It's free smoke for any other channels that want to debate a biased PBC-based narrative. That's it. Garbage shop talk conversations. Salute to Dallas. You don't turn down 124 million, 120 million when you're 34 years old. That's right, Jesse. Look, Deontay Wilder is so stupid. He's aging himself out of the Anthony Joshua fight. Idiot. Anthony Joshua was the biggest payday in the heavyweight division. Think about it like this: Andy Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua, and yet Anthony Joshua is still about to make 84 million, while Andy Ruiz is making 12. Come on, that shows you don't price and age yourself out of the biggest fight in the division, idiot. You're in your mid-30s. You're going to slow down. These dudes are dumb. And if Al Heyman is just an advisor, then he's advising you. He's advising you wrong. He's advising you into the garbage can with these in-house fights. He's costing you money, and you're too stupid to see it. Come on now, these dudes are idiots. And then Barbershop wanted to turn around and say he thinks Canelo Alvarez Kovalev was fixed. This just proves you when he said he's promoting the PBC based on a racial agenda. That just shows you everything he says is a lie. He's discredited every message he's ever put out. The LDBC has been discredited because it's not about what Canelo does in a ring. It's not about what anybody does in a ring. It's simply a racial narrative. And that's why they don't like Terrence Crawford. Simply because Terrence Crawford is not with the PBC. That's all it is. And that just because Terrence Crawford, if he moved over to the PBC, he still wouldn't get the fights. You want to know why? Because Errol Spence has not fought Keith Thurman. That's the end of it. Keith Thurman has already stated the fights that he want to fight next. He said he want to fight Manny Pacquiao in a rematch, Sean Porter in a rematch, and Danny Garcia in a rematch. He did not mention Errol Spence or Bud Crawford in an initial fight. He want to fight nothing but rematches for the next few fights. This dude's a coward, and he's the perfect fighter for the PBC because these dudes don't want to fight the best. These dudes don't want to do what's the best. These dudes only want to fight the same fights over and over again. Terrence Bud Crawford destroys everyone at 147. He makes Sean Porter looks easy. Boxing Monster said this proves the PBC does not care about the LDBC. They support the PBC because of black men. But that black man that runs it only cares about green. That just 100% right, Monster. These guys are idiots. These guys are idiots. And you know what? Deontay Wilder is going to get knocked out the first day that anybody sidesteps one of his shots. He's so predictable. He's really predictable. Come on now. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. And you know what? Errol Spence Jr., they were trying to make him into the new Floyd Mayweather. How can he be the new Floyd Mayweather when he doesn't have Mayweather's skills? When he doesn't have well, he looked like Mayweather against Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is not Bud Crawford. Mikey Garcia is not a welterweight. Let's be honest and unbiased. We got to be real about who is who in this division. Come on now. Bud Crawford is avoided for a reason. He's avoided for a reason. Why does nobody want to fight Crawford? These dudes are a bunch of cowards. Cowards. How could Wilder be the face of boxing? How is Wilder the face of boxing when he's not the face of the PBC? He's not the face of the PBC. To this day, he's not the face of the PBC. Come on now. Who is Deontay Wilder? Is the face of toilet paper. That's what he is, because he's not giving us the best fights. He's fighting tomato cans and old washed up fighters. You know what's funny? This is the biggest contradiction I've heard. They say that Canelo Alvarez only fights old washed up fighters, but Canelo Alvarez fought a world champion that's years younger than Luis Ortiz. But nobody's saying that, everybody's saying, Luis Ortiz is a respectable fighter, but Sergey Kovalev is not. Luis Ortiz has already been knocked out. He's never won a world title, and Luis Ortiz is a 1,000-year-old mummy. What are we talking about here? These dudes don't want to face the real facts. These dudes don't want the real facts. Canelo's #1 pound for pound. He's beating elite fighters at the top of the game that are world champions. Let's stop playing. Let's stop playing, because people give Wilder the credit they won't give Canelo when he's facing the real opposition. Come on now. And that's to this day. These dudes need to give you the real. And we're not going to play with it. We're not going to push a narrative, just like when the LDBC said that Errol Spence Jr. was knocking out Mikey Garcia. He was knocking out Mikey Garcia. He knocked out nothing. Mikey Garcia shouldn't have been standing at the end of that fight. Just like these idiots make a 100-part series saying that, it isn't, Errol Spence just going to run through and bulldoze Sean Porter. Sean Porter's getting knocked out. This is the first time Sean Porter's getting knocked out. Sean Porter arguably won that fight. He arguably won that fight. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Come on now. But they don't want to give Canelo credit for fighting Sergey Kovalev, who's 36, but they'll give Wilder credit for fighting Ortiz, who's 8,000 years old, and fighting him in a rematch that no one's asking for, who has no belt, and is a pointless fight. These dudes don't keep... If you in here and you support the IBFP, hit that thumbs up and be honest and unbiased with me. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to play with you because I can't sugarcoat it. And you know what? I cannot sugarcoat it. The LDBC is a bunch of biased clowns and fanboys who only support a racial agenda. These guys don't support the truth. These guys don't support what's right. They don't support what they see in the ring. These guys get in their feelings. A lot of fanboys are mad that I didn't put Errol Spence in the top 10 pound for pound. Why is he top 10 pound for pound? He beat a broken Kell Brook and refused to give him a rematch. You beat a Mikey Garcia moving up 2 weight classes and couldn't even knock him out. And they gave you gifted you a decision against Sean Porter, which was supposed to be the easy road, and you're ducking the boogeyman in the division. You are not a pound-for-pound fighter. You got beat up and lost the first half of the entire Sean Porter fight. What are you talking about? Even Keith Thurman said it. Even up. Errol Spence got backed up, and by his own admission, he felt Sean Porter power. And everybody knows that Sean Porter is not a power puncher. Come on, let's be honest and unbiased. These dudes is trash. I'm only giving you the truth. Boxing Monster says Wilder's opponents have over 200 combined losses. No wonder he has a 98% knockout percentage. Come on now. In the first fight he ever stepped up to face a real challenge in Luis Ortiz, the first time when he was only 1,000 years old, he almost got stopped in the 7th and the doctor saved him. Let's stop playing. And then when he ended up fighting Tyson Fury put that boy on the other side of the world when he was piecing him up round after round, and they had to rob him. They had to go in both of his pockets and rob him. Salute to Francisco Moreno. We're not going to play. Then they want to say, oh, Triple G's too old. He's younger than Luis Ortiz. So if Canelo fights Triple G, what's the problem? He's younger than, and he's been a world champion. He's a current world champion. If you got belts and beating world champions, why can't you give him the credit? Luis Ortiz has never been a world champion, and they're not. These dudes don't want to hear the truth. These dudes don't want to hear what's real. These dudes don't want the truth. These dudes don't want facts. They want biased analysis, and they want somebody to fanboy for their trash fighters. We're going to give you the truth. Do you think Devin Haney is overrated, Duke? Any thoughts on that, man? I think Devin Haney is a special talent. I think he's still growing into the sport, and I think he's a monster in the making. I don't think he's a monster yet, but I think he's a monster in the making, and I think he can legitimately challenge Vasyl Lomachenko. A lot of people say he can't challenge Lomachenko. I don't know if he'll beat Loma. I think it'll be a close fight, and I think he has a chance to beat Loma. But I'm going to put it like this. If Luke Campbell, who doesn't have levels and dimensions to his game, can rock Lomachenko, hurt him, and have him stunned in the fight, what makes you think that Devin Haney can't? These dudes right here don't open their eyes. These dudes right here are feeling their mind and their heart. Look, Chris Girl already exposed it. Yordenis Ugas. Let me explain to you the trash stuff that's going on with Yordenis Ugas. You see, the WBC are protecting Errol Spence Jr. Everybody want to jump down to WBC and say, oh, they're protecting Canelo from this and that. And when Canelo's taking on big challenges, got robbed of a decision, and then Yordenis Ugas wins a title eliminator, supposed to be #1 contender for Errol Spence, and then they drop down the rankings and pick Danny Garcia as a mandatory for Spence. What are we talking about here? These dudes are trying to protect Errol Spence from Yordenis Ugas, a guy who stands about 5'10", a big guy that Errol Spence Jr. just can't jump all over and manhandle. Ugas is a monster and a beast in the division. Yordenis Ugas beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs. Yordenis Ugas is a problem for any welterweight in the division, and in his fight with Sean Porter, he dropped Porter first. What are we talking about? And not only that, he put it on him. Let's be honest. Boxing Monster says Canelo has faced 20 champions or former champions. How many has Wilder fought? Come on, and still, new media is trash, and it's a joke. These dudes don't want to tell the truth. They want to support a biased narrative, but we're not going to have it. We're going to tell you the truth. Ego, let me tell you something about ego. Ego is just trying to raise rent money for his mom before she put him out of the basement. His real name is Clarence. And she don't want to put Clarence out. Let's just be honest and unbiased. He's just trying to raise rent money. That's why he's coming up with all this trash. Come on now. Triple G should end up fighting a better level of fighter. At the end of the day, he doesn't want to fight the best. And he's only waiting on the Canelo payday. All these guys want to wait on a Canelo payday. Like, I don't understand it. Fight somebody legitimate. Jamal Charlo says, what has Demetrius Andre done? What do I get from fighting him? What do you get from fighting, Dennis Hogan, a dude coming off a loss? And then he said, I'm going to show Dennis Hogan I'm not Jaime Munguia. First of all, why are you fighting a guy from 154? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Jamal Charlo's a fraud. These dudes are frauds. I'm noticing that everybody on the PBC is a fraud fighter. They're fraudulent fighters. These dudes don't want the true smoke. These dudes are not real and not legitimate. Look at Dante's Bias Nation. Dante's Bias Nation spends too much time in a Wendy's drive-through. Come on, let's not play. He's spending too much time in a Wendy's drive-through to give legitimate boxing analysis. This dude is only picking with his heart and his gut. And when I say his gut, all of his boxing analysis is at the bottom of a Wendy's paper bag. Let's stop playing. Let's stop playing. Ego does cherry pick news, and he tries to manipulate things because you understand the real reason Ego, has shades on every time he does a video is because he's trying to hide his eyes. And the reason he's trying to hide his eyes is because he keep getting beat up at the train station for spewing this garbage. Let's stop playing. These dudes don't want the truth. These dudes don't want the truth. Let's be honest. And you better not lose to Dennis Hogan if you're Jamal Charlo. You better not lose to Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo better not lose to Dennis Hogan. I'm sorry. Come on now. Jamal Charlo, you lose to Dennis Hogan. You're officially the number one trash man at 160. Let's be honest. Let's be honest and unbiased. Let's be honest and unbiased. Let's stop playing with it because these dudes don't want the truth. These dudes want somebody to protect all of their fighters. Everybody on the PBC is turning into garbage. These dudes don't want to fight the best. These dudes don't want to fight the top level fighters, but Canelo Alvarez is ducking a guy who only wants to fight fighters from 154. Canelo Alvarez is ducking this dude. What are we talking about here? Do you hear the agendas that's being pushed? Everybody's ducking Errol Spence when Errol Spence won't even fight his true man. What are we talking about here? These dudes is clowns. These dudes don't want the true smoke. These dudes don't want him. Ego's not low-key cross-eyed. He is cross-eyed. He is cross-eyed. That explains why he can't see boxing for what it is. He's a fanboy. Anybody that does not agree that the PBC belt